Easy.
So, quick question. Clayton Smith told me about the time he put a snake in your office.
Oh gosh, why would he sell that story? Where's Clayton at? But yeah, he brought yeah, and like I looked around, I'm like, what the heck? He likes snakes. Yeah, I don't. So I jumped, and then I said, get this snake away from me.
You said you literally wouldn't go in your office.
Yeah, until the snake was gone. I don't do snakes. I don't do. Not about that. He is though. He's from Texarkana, so he grew up catching snakes.
He brought it in, or it was already in there?
No, he brought. It's his snake. Clayton owns snakes, so he snuck in the back door to my office behind me. Everybody else distracted me talking forward, and then all of a sudden, Clayton snuck in behind me and had a snake, and I was like, not cool, not cool.
You don't appreciate the players getting the one up on you every now and then?
I appreciate it, just not with a snake. I mean, a fake snake, I'm all good, funny. A real snake? Now, his snakes aren't poisonous, so I guess that's the solace in it all, is they're just, pythons that aren't poisonous. I guess, that's what he says.
Coach, a phrase often used to describe Ryan Ward's defense, I've heard it thrown around a lot, is organized chaos, or the word chaos gets thrown out around a lot. And I would argue that on offense this last season, organized chaos would have been a way to describe it, especially some of the late play calling in the season. I'm thinking of like that 4th and 1 against Iowa State, throwing a long bomb. Is that part of the identity of the play calling for Marcus Arroyo and for Brian Ward, or is that something that you guys had tried to embody, or is that just how things shake out?
I make it very clear, the buck stops with me. If you're a play caller and I don't like something and I want to trumpet, I'm going to trumpet. Which means, and I don't do it very often, which means when you call the game, call it aggressive, call it to win. And if it doesn't work, it's my fault. Because at the end of the day, I have the ability to change it. And I have the ability to say no. I know both calls. So any bad call that we have in our program is my fault because I allowed it to happen. So call the game as aggressive. I'll get on the headset all the time to Coach Warren, play cover 0. I want to bring the house. I'll get on to Coach Royal, throw it deep. Like, I want our guys to feel comfortable enough that they know they can call the game as aggressive as possible, and that if something doesn't work, it's my fault. And I'm fine with that because I believe that's how you win. And I believe when calling plays, knowing that you can be aggressive and call what you want to call, not a little bit scared if it doesn't work, you become a better caller. So I think that's just the philosophy we have is, Bruce Arians used to say, no risk it, no biscuit. I mean, I believe in that. You got to play the game aggressive and not scared.
But on the other hand, Jesus Gomez, I know he hasn't played a game yet, but I mean, do you think that he has the potential maybe to be less risky on 4th downs just because of the leg that he has?
100%. Now that's not going to change, us not going for 4th and 1s. It's going to change us going for, 4th and 7 on the 35-yard line. I mean, may as well kick it now if it's over a 60% make rate for him. So it's one of those situations where we will eventually kick more field goals because of that, but that's not going to change our style of aggressiveness. It's just going to say the smartest, most aggressive play is actually to kick the field goal here. It may be an aggressive field goal, maybe a 62-yard kick that we would have, sky punted in the past, we're now going to go for. So I think it just changes how you can be aggressive.
I know you're a process-oriented person. How much does it feel different going into this year versus last year or the year before, and if so, in what ways?
Yeah, way different because we got so many people back. It's, last year I talked a ton about, it wasn't even about blocking up the noise, getting to know each other, go hang out together, go to the lake together, go to the movie together, go to somebody's house. You have to get to know each other. We have so many new guys. You have to become friends. It's got to be bigger than football. And this year when I say that, I'm like, they already do hang out together. So, it's just different. Oh, you guys need to go study day 1, day 2 install. Well, a lot of you guys know it again. So I think a lot of the differences are it's not comfortable with guys knowing each other, guys being friends, guys knowing the system, the returners. So now it's how do we, advance that? How do we get them to do things beyond what we did last year to become better? So I think it is different from that perspective.
Going back earlier, you talked about being aggressive and kind of making the decision between going for it on 4th down or kicking the field goal. Is there any integration of data analytics into those decisions, or is it more so trusting the
A lot of it. So I've used all the systems. I've used the when to go for it, when to not. 4th and 1's pretty much an automatic go wherever you are on the field. You could be on the minus 12, and 4th and 1, according to the stats, most of the time are a go, statistically. So I think it's me merging what I know the generalized go is, and then saying, hey, I still want to make a decision based off of our football team in this matchup, that this computer does not understand that our right guard is out. You know, it says we should go for it. It doesn't understand that we've been really good at running tight zone this game and that we've been getting pushed. So maybe a 4th and 1 is a 4th and 2 go, right? You know, CJ and Ben want to adopt a dog for you. That's not going to happen. If you call Miss Bree and get permission, I'll bring it home, but you're not going to, she's going to say no. But Miss Bree is not going to say yes to you adopting a dog. But I know, so I think it's just an ability to take the analytics and combine it with your team and then make the best decision. I never want to hide behind a book. I never want to go to a press conference and say I went for it because a book told me to. If I make a decision, it's my decision, and I'm going to own it. I'm not going to lean to an excuse.
Coach, you spoke about having a lot back. Two of the guys you have back are on that defensive line, CJ and Clayton. What do those guys bring up front defensively?
They bring that East Texas physicality, baby. You know, I think both those guys are physical. They're tough. You know, CJ is the strongest guy in our football program. You know, he's at the last rack, and everybody, you know, builds the tunnel when he goes to squat. And then Clayton, you know, he showed up at 225 pounds 3 years ago. He's 255 right now. He's gained 18, 20 pounds this offseason, mile and a half faster at 255 pounds. So I think both those guys bring physicality. And I think the coolest part about the team that we brought to Media Day is, other than Sam, they've all been in our program 3 years. Whether they were transfers as freshmen, whether they were high school kids, they were guys that came here from the start. And I think that's the key to our program, is I'm not worried about high school recruiting rankings anymore. All that stuff, that's all old school, doesn't matter anymore. It's all about who is on your roster and who retains on your roster. And to have all those 5 guys at Media Days return with all the options they could have left, and they wanted to be here for 3 years, combine that with Sam Levitt, and you have our people. They were the culture. They were here from the beginning. They have built it.
Bounce off that, Coach. You obviously brought the commonality with all 6 of them is their membership of the Pat-Tucker Leadership Council, and obviously you wanted to have it be on their suits and be on display for everyone to see it. A lot of fans are already on social media very positive about that. How important is it to still have that council have still a voice, considering how many guys are coming back, how everyone in many ways is a veteran in some way, like you mentioned, because everyone's returning and already is familiar with the playbook, familiar with each other. How important is it to still have that sense of leadership, not only amongst just the team, but amongst just the 6 guys that you brought together?
Yeah, I mean, our leadership council runs our football team. You know, everybody's going to point at me and say, oh, Kenny, oh, cool, whatever, because that's my job is, you know, I do the media stuff, and, you know, I'm good when we're good and I'm bad when we're bad. But our leadership council runs our team. Our leadership council makes decisions. Our leadership council holds our players accountable. Our leadership council chose to not practice a couple days this year. They do this thing. And people say they want a player-run team. Well, you can't run a player-run team with a coach-driven agenda. And my agenda is their agenda. I want them to have so much ownership of this program, so much ownership of the standard, that it's not about Kenny Dillingham. It's about those guys that are here. It's about those guys and their peers. Because when your peer tells you to pick it up, you pick it up. When coach tells you to pick it up, you eventually block it out.
You mentioned it being a player-run team, and Ben earlier said that he's applying a lot more pressure on himself going into this season than he ever has in years prior. Do you think that's kind of like a team-wide thing, just guys applying that pressure? And if so, what do you think are some of the examples of that?
I think when you're a player-led team and you get on the leadership council and you finally realize how much power you actually have, how much we actually listen, and it's not just like a hoax. Here's a leadership council. I need you guys to convince everybody to do what I want, right? You're not a leadership council. You are a manipulation council. My job is to get you to manipulate everybody else. I think when the guys get on the council and they realize, no, I have a voice. I actually chose to do it like this. It takes some ownership to be like, oh crap, like I voted for this and we're doing it. I better go do it now. Otherwise, if I can't even do what I voted for, well, now why am I on the council? Like, this is bad ball. So I think naturally, when you make decisions, it matters more to you and it raises your own standard and your own level.
Kenny, I'm fascinated with, you made a comment, I talked to Jordan about it. He's gaining weight, he's gaining the right weight, but he's getting faster at the top end. skill guys.
Yeah, I think obviously Coach Joe does a great job, but there's a secret sauce, and it's called work. And when you work and you care, you get better. And that kid's put in work. He eats right. He cares. He treats his body right so he can work out more. He gets in the cult up. So I think everybody wants coaches to have a special scheme. And they want strength coaches to have a special workout. And they want nutritionists to have a special nutrition plan. At the end of the day, you as a person, you as a player, are only going to be as good as the commitment level that you're willing to take when those people give you the information. There's no secret sauce. There's no special plan. Are there good schemes and there's bad schemes, and do coaches lose as well? Heck yes. But at the end of the day, work works, and he's put in the work.
Sticking with Jordan, obviously, he was one of the very few bright spots of that CU team in 2022. Do you remember the first time you watched him and just kind of maybe taking that kind of a chance on him after suffering that tough injury to end his freshman
Oh,
season?
yeah.
Kind of what sticks out about the progress he's made from the first time you watched him on film to the player he is now?
Oh, yeah, it's full circle. So I was sitting in the Oregon staff room. Our wide receiver coach comes in. He goes, "Man, we're playing that JT kid." Well, that wide receiver coach, Junior Adams, is now the wide receiver coach for the Dallas Cowboys right in this stadium. And he said, "That kid was so good, I loved him out of high school." Right? They took somebody else the year prior, but he loved him. And then we went and played at CU, and he played, and he had an unbelievable start to the game. He then got injured in that game that I coached at versus Oregon. But I remember him in the box after his first play, and I'm on offense, we're watching defense, and Junior Adams was like, "Man, that's that Jordan kid that I was talking about." I'm like, golly, he's good. So when he went in the portal, I got to meet him, got to get around him, and I tried to get him and his brother a little package deal, but we didn't get his brother. We got him, but he's just grown up so much. I couldn't be more happy for him to be where he's at and hopefully where he's going. I really think he's changed his life.
What does it take? You mentioned recruiting rankings not really being a thing that matters anymore. How has your perspective evolved with NIL, revenue sharing, scholarship expansion to 105, and what you guys are trying to do in recruiting?
Yeah, I think it's all about retention rankings now. I think at the end of the day, you can recruit whoever you want, but then they can leave in 6 months, they can leave in a year, they may not be good. The hit rate on a lot of top guys isn't very high. So you can't say recruiting is like drafting, because it's not. Draft picks, a lot of the first and second rounders have to play as true freshmen, or have to play as rookies, right? Where less than 5%, 5 to 3% of Division I Power 5 freshmen start as a freshman, 5%. You're not talking first or second rounders anymore. So in this new era where you have 105 kids potentially on scholarship, or 85, it's all about retaining the guys in your team. It's all about treating the guys in your team great. And if you treat the guys in your team great, when you get a good player, he's going to stay there. If you constantly are looking for the next best thing to replace the guys in your team, then your own guys in your team should leave. Why wouldn't they? If you're not loyal to them, they shouldn't be loyal to you. I think that's the one thing that I take a lot of pride in is, our best players are going to make the most money on our team. And if you have a problem with that, become a best player. And if you're not the best player and you want to make more money, then yeah, I'm going to help you leave. So not just to make more money, so you can play. But at the end of the day, our best players deserve to make the most money. Our best players, our best young guys deserve to make the next most so they can grow into playing. We're all about production. We're all about, doing it in our program. And I think that's why a lot of our players stayed here, is they know that we're going to take care of them when they deserve it. And they know we're going to treat them fairly. And they know I'm never going to lie to them in the recruiting process. And are we going to lose a lot of recruits because I'm not going to tell a kid he's going to make $500,000 and put in the contract that I can change your salary at my discretion, which is happening. In the contract, I can change your salary at my discretion. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm about. If I tell you you're going to make something, you're going to make it, and you can only make more from there. And we're going to treat you fair. We're going to treat you right, and we're going to miss out on a lot of kids right now, but we're going to get a lot of kids back when they realize that it's a little bit of fool's gold out there in college football.
You mentioned that one of many returning starters in this conference with a lot of production from last year. Just in your first year in the league last year, how impressed were you with the other guys that you guys had to go up against on a week-to-week basis from a quarterback perspective, and just how daunting is it this year knowing all the guys are going to face?
The quarterbacks in this league are phenomenal. It reminds me of my first year when we were in the Pac-12 with all the quarterbacks in that league. It's absolutely, I mean, you look at your schedule, it's like every week you're facing a really, really good quarterback. And anytime you face a good quarterback, you could lose the game. That's the scary part. You know, when you go to a game and you're like, oh, that quarterback isn't very good, you feel really confident as a coach. When you go into a game and you're like, this dude could play on Sundays, all the other players, it doesn't matter, because if that dude catches fire, if that dude makes 3 free defenders miss on blitz packages on third downs, he could be an X factor. So this league and the quarterback play is scary.
You mentioned that Jordan's kind of completely changed his life. And in the past 3 months, he got baptized, was named the student athlete of the semester for the spring. What's it like to see a player of that caliber be about the right stuff and hold himself to the same standard off the field as he does out there?
Yeah, I think everybody should talk about what you just said more. He got baptized. He won the academic player of the semester for the football program. That right there tells you everything you need to know about his progression as a person. And I think that's a testament to Coach Ward. That's a testament to the standards that he forced him to create. That you can't, you know, he says all the time, you can't have championship play with playground habits, right? You can't choose when to turn it on and off. That, yeah, there's guys that are talented enough that they can have playground habits to be successful. And then there are guys that have championship habits and they're a championship level player and they last for a long time. And I think Jordan's figured out through the help of Coach Ward and the push of Coach Ward what it takes to be successful, and it's super fun to watch and be a part of.
You mentioned that year in the Pac-12 you had with all the good quarterbacks. One of those guys you worked with Bo Nix. I mean, what is it, kind of off topic here, but what was it like for you to watch him maybe from afar in his first year in the league and kind of succeed in the Broncos?
Yeah, super cool. I would actually watch their games. I'd get the cut-ups and I'd watch their games on Sundays just to see what he was doing. And if I saw something I liked that they did, you know, I would give him a shout on their bye week and be like, I never used to annoy him because he's got a job to do. I'd give him a shout on his bye week. What were you guys doing here? What were you trying to get accomplished? What do you like? Why did you stagger your stance more? You used to be a little bit staggered. Now you're super staggered in your stance. What was the thought there? Was that due to run game footwork? Was that what they wanted you to do? So I think when you're playing quarterback position, you know, all the little things matter to have the functional movement necessary to get the ball out fast. So I would study what I know we coached, what I know he was comfortable with, what the changes were, and I would ask him the why, and then I would try to, you know, use some of those things and explain it to Sam and our quarterbacks to see if they like it or to see the thought process behind why he did it and to see if they should make a tweak to make themselves better.
How much of a jump do really good quarterbacks like Sam tend to make going into the second year of the same offense, a lot of the same personnel?
Yeah, really big jumps. The second year in the system, being able to be comfortable in it, and then having, you know, more freedom in it, usually they make really big jumps.
You said like him just being comfortable to take checkdowns or hot routes or whatever. That's kind of where he can.
Yeah, and us calling a more aggressive game for him. And aggressive to me does not mean throwing the ball deep. We already know he does that. Aggressive to me is on 1st and 10, calling passing, quick game. That's aggressive. That's an aggressive style of play. So I think he is going to be a better football player because he's more comfortable on early downs throwing control passing games. And to me, that is aggressive because there is a chance you wind up in 2nd and 10, 2nd and long. And when we face teams like Texas Tech over here that have one of the best defensive fronts, you know, in our league, you can't live at 2nd and long. You're going to get destroyed if you're at 2nd and long. So you got to have better controlled passing game. That way you don't get to those 2nd and pass scenarios.
Coach, your program's a good example. Are you all in now on paying players and knowing that they can still play with the collegiate mindset and not just the professional mindset?
I think at the end of the day, regardless of if you pay somebody or not, you're an 18 to 23-year-old kid. People can talk about money. They can talk about whatever they want. You're an 18-year-old kid with the same problems the 18-year-old kids had 25 years ago. Your girlfriend broke up with you. Right, your one friend liked something on Instagram. Maybe that wasn't 20 years ago. Maybe that was like etched in stone. But it's the same kid. Yeah, do they may drive a nicer car? Do they go to a nice steakhouse? They deserve it. These guys make millions of dollars for institutions, billions of dollars. They deserve to have that. But to say that that is changing the kid, you know, in our program, I hope it's not changing them. It's not what it's about. It's what they get. I think there's a difference to say kids are making money and it's all about money. In our program, they're making money, but it is not one reason why a kid is in our program is not money-based. Not one. We would have lost everybody in our program that was money-based. They all chose to stay because the program, how we treat them and what they appreciate. And I think that's the part Maybe I'm stuck in a bubble in this era. I hear horror stories from people all the time that I'm not in right now. And maybe eventually I'll get out of this fake bubble that we're in and I'll be thrusted into this new reality that other people talk about. But our program hasn't really entered it yet. And maybe I'm blessed. Maybe I'm lucky for it. But I haven't entered a lot of these challenges that other teams have.
Mike Gundy's got to go to Oregon week 2. Any advice on how to go to Oregon and be successful?
Yeah, Dan Lanning's my buddy too. And Mike Gundy's a great coach. So I would say win the line of scrimmage and don't turn the ball over. I mean, it's a simple game, right?
Apologize if you've been asked this recently, but just to see Cam go to the New York Giants, how do you feel about that and just his NFL future?
Yeah, I'm excited for him. I mean, every time he gets a day off, he comes back to Tempe. He's in our office, knocking on my door, knocking on Coach Arroyo's door. So it's pretty cool to have him feel comfortable enough to come back and know that this is home for him. But I'm super excited for him. It couldn't have been a better fit systematically. I know some people up there, so it's super exciting for him.
Also, last year, the first time I watched you guys, I got like Detroit Lions vibes. I'm just wondering, is there anyone that you look at in the NFL or college to build culture? Any coaches that you kind of modeled or just you like to watch? And just like
Yeah, I've always watched Pete Carroll. I think the way he's done things is different. He's done it positively. He's done it through energy. He's done it through passion. And I think I've always been told you got to be yourself. Regardless of what you do, it really doesn't matter as long as you're genuine, as long as you're yourself. And I think his personality really it more fits my personality. Not that I'm anywhere in his ballpark or even I'm not even comparing in any way, shape, or form. But I've definitely watched him and said, man, I like the way he does it. I've never talked to him. I've never seen him practice. Never seen anything. I've just seen the way he goes about it on game day and his aura. And I feel like personality-wise, there are some similarities. Thank you.
Earlier, being more aggressive on offense means, in part, passing on first down. When you think about all the names you had at the tight end position and how you were a bit more of a run-heavy team last year with Tim Scatterby, what does that add in terms of the flexibility with your offense, being able to pass out of rundowns and run out of pass downs?
Yeah, obviously, when you're more versatile, you're harder to defend. So I think having the ability and the comfort to have more control passing game on early downs is only a strength for your football team. Teams just can't load the box on early downs if you're going to, throw a speed out to the field for a gain of 7, a gain of 8, and you're living at 2nd and 3 with a good quarterback. Now you get to throw the ball down the field. So I think when you have a controlled passing game, you actually get into shorter second downs. And if you get into shorter second downs, you get into shorter third downs, which we go for it a lot, which means you have more downs where you can be more aggressive. So people think that first down has such a drastic effect on your play calling later in the series that having a little bit more aggressive first down calls lead to super aggressive second, third, and fourth down calls. And I think that's what I'm excited for, is if we can be efficient on those first down calls that are a little bit more aggressive, it's going to make us extremely aggressive and a team that can stretch the field way more vertically down the field on second and short, third and short, fourth and short.
Kenny, you've really preached Texas to Tempe along the recruiting trail. How does the Big 12 hosting events in Texas really help out with that?
It's awesome. I mean, I got asked an East Texas question about Clayton and CJ Fight. Clayton's family's here today. CJ Fight's family's here today. Jordan Tyson's family's here today. The guys we bring next year, if it's hosted here again, we'll probably have a bunch more guys from this region here again. So I think it's just a testament that, these guys could have come back to the state of Texas to play their last year of football. And they chose to stay at Arizona State. They took pride in being at Arizona State. They take pride in Texas to Tempe. They love being here. So to come back here and get them to have this experience, win a championship in this state, come back and do media days in this state, it's pretty special for them.
I have a question about Ralik and his development and the weight gain and muscle mass. Is that more for pass protection or running inside, giving you more optionality when he's in the game, so it's not just, hey, we're going to run screen and draw or run him outside. He can get you those tough yards.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know he could weigh this much.
I didn't either.
I didn't. When you think of Ralik Brown, you think of a scat guy, you think of somebody out of the backfield. People try to convert him to a wideout. You don't think of an in-between the tackle, 200-pound back. And I think Ralik really took it when he had a few, he got dinged up a little bit last year, got dinged up a little bit his last year at USC. He's like, okay, I got to take this really, really seriously to get my body in the best shape possible. And I think he's done a really good job, off the field, making really good decisions in terms of what he eats, what he puts into his body, that all of a sudden he tried to gain weight and he's like, whoa, I'm 197 pounds, but I haven't gotten slower. I'm still at my top speed. This is what I should have been all along. But it's almost sometimes kids are scared to gain weight because they think weight correlates with loss of speed. No, fat when I go on vacation, I get slower because I'm not getting stronger. He is getting stronger, so he's keeping his speed. And I think it's fun to see him understand that and learn and like, oh wow, I am a 195, 200 pound guy. And I can be this fast. I can run in between the tackles. I can pass pro better. And I can still get on the perimeter and do everything I could as 175 pounds. I'm just better at this part of the game now.
Will he return kicks for you this year?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, as a Cardinals fan, does it remind you of maybe Larry Sanders, maybe a little more physical?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't want to make a bad comparison, but potentially. You may know that more than me. Awesome. Oh.
Y'all play the Colorado Buffaloes this season, and as Deion Sanders is third year as head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, what makes you think he's unique?
Oh, he's Deion Sanders. He's unique, of course. He's one of the best people at branding. He's one of the smartest, in my opinion, coaches in branding a program. He does a phenomenal job developing defensive backs based off his history. He was one of the best players. He's done TV. I mean, he's really done it all. And to be really good at a lot of things is really hard to do. And he's been really good at a lot of things. So I think what makes him unique is his ability to be really successful in a lot of different areas of the sport. Thank you. Appreciate it.